Now then, crew, welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel, episode 2 of the GoKart project. In the last episode, I'm sure you've already watched it, we made a jig and started to put some little risers up to the chassis of the go-kart. There's still a few more of those to do because we need to make sure that when we replace certain sections of the frame of the go-kart, the frame maintains its straightness, its positioning. It doesn't change or warp or, you know, go out of level, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't want to distort. And by using a jig, the plan is that will prevent that from happening. Right, let's take a quick scan around the frame now, and then we'll talk about what we need to do next. Here we go. Used.
You don't paint something without wiping.
Honestly. Okay, jig is basically all done. The main frame of the jig, that's 50 by 50 by 4mm wall box section. 2 rails, and of course there's some bits going across as well to link the 2 rails together. 3 of those, maybe 4 actually. Yes, 1, 2, 3, and 1 at the rear. 4, perfect. Now the back of the buggy, the frame, is in pretty good nick. We're going to leave that alone. We're working on the mid section, and most importantly the front section here. As we come round, the whole, I suppose you'd call it the front axle, this piece here that runs through the frame that mounts the knuckle joints on, that is badly corroded basically from this point here. This is a major stress point all the way across where the steering comes down the column, and again round here is pretty rusty, so all that's got to be replaced, as have these 2 rails here because they're also rusty down there, if you can see. Yes, that's it, focus down there, camera, thank you. And an easy bit, we've got this front piece to replace as well, and it's got a few holes in it where the I think these are for the top cage that goes over, probably, so we've got to drill those as well in the right place. So we need a couple more risers to go in here, so when we replace that we get it in the right position. These 2 are done. We need to make some bars which come off the knuckle joints here down to the jig, the front and the rear, so maybe 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom, different directions, so on both sides obviously. So when we cut that piece out, or they're going to actually stay relative in space, so when we put the new piece in we can weld it back in, and the angles, the caster and camber and so on, should not change. In theory, he says. But we all know that when you weld stuff through thermal expansion and contraction, things tend to move around a little bit, so we need to make sure that those brackets are really good. And if you look on the camera there, you can see that they do slope back a few degrees. So it's got a bit of caster. And do they slope inwards? Let's have a little look. Or are they vertical? Ah, they look pretty vertical actually, don't they? Oh, at least that one does. That one seems to have a bit of camber on it. Maybe it has been crashed, or maybe something's got bent when they've hit a bump. But hey, we'll make the tube with the same bend here and here, and we'll have to do maybe a bit of measuring. Maybe it has been crashed. We don't know the history of this machine. What else do we need to do? We need to do some risers. Do we need to do risers on? I think we may need to do risers, yes, on this piece here, somewhere around here, because this piece needs to be replaced. Doesn't matter about this end, we just match it up with the end of the tube here and weld it on. But down here we need to know exactly where these 2 pieces of tube should sit before we weld them into place. Yes, it never ends, does it? There's always more work to do. Okay, just 4 more risers still to make. I found some more box section. Let's crack on. As always, we employ the CAD design in this workshop, cardboard aided design, that is. And the riser basically is made out of some, I don't know, about 35 by 35 box we've got kicking around. And it has a semicircle in there. Terrible drawing, Andy, terrible drawing. Working around the camera. And that diameter hole needs to be about 22.5 millimeters. And the distance from the base of the hole to the base of there, totally out of proportion, is about 17 millimeters for these two risers that we're making now. So what I intend to do is to make two at a time. And so obviously imagine the box section there, look. And there'll be a complete hole in the middle, and then we'll cut it in half once we've done the hole saw of around about 22 mil. Right, let's get marked up. Dum 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 dum. Okay, so we need a total of 28 and a half. Say 29 because we're going to cut it in half. Let's do that. 29. About there will be our cut point. Very handy, it's nice and rusty. We can see the line really easily, can't we? Okay, and so that will be the center of the hole that we're going to drill with the hole saw, and that's the most important part at the moment, so we'll just mark that off. And we need the center of that. So what was the width of this box section? Let's have a look. Oh, about 37. What's half of 37? Geez, 15 is 30. 18 and a half for the center point. Yeah, I'd go with that. It's only approximate. Doesn't need to be that important. That accurate. 18 and a half is there. Wonderful. Right, it's exactly the same on this side. So we did that, what, 29, wasn't it? I forget already. Yes, 29. 29 in from the end. In fact, we should square it around because it may not be square. Jeez. Very careful with this box section because it's got a weird lip on one side. It's made from a piece of flat. It's what we call crate steel. It's what motorcycles come in. So that will work. There we go. And 29 from that end as well. Sorry, 18 and a half we said, didn't we? For the center point, approximately. There we go. Right, center punch for that. So we'll do that out in a second. And then we need to double the length ready for cutting. So that was 29, 60, 58 is the length. 58, which is just there, look. Okay. They're very short, these little risers. So that's our cut point. Once we've drilled the hole, like I said before, it doesn't need to be massively accurate as long as it's snug against the frame of the buggy on that, there we go, look, on the cutout. So we'll end up with a semicircle, well, a circle cut through there, and then we're going to chop this in half and chop it off there, and then we end up with two risers. It's pretty nifty, isn't it, really? Okay, center punch. Right, prepare yourself. I hate doing this, but there's going to be a bit of an earthquake for you. Are you ready? You should be. 3, 2, 1. Boom. And again, and I always mark up both sides because hole saws are not particularly accurate at coming through in exactly the right place on the other side, you see. Oh, I didn't give you a warning that time, did I? Right, we'll drill the hole now before we chop it all up. 22. There we go. Near enough. 22.5 mil diameter. Well, it's about 22.2 millimeters is the tube OD, so a 22 hole saw should be just fine. Right, to the pillar drill. Chum! was way off on that, wasn't I? Anyway, there we go. 2 more risers, just time to clean them up. That'll do, Gromit. Nice. Well, that's those two tacked in. And we've got 2 more to do at the front. So I'll crack on with those 2 and, well, in a blink of an eye, they'll be done. That'll do, Gromit. We're getting there, slowly but surely. Now you may be wondering why I'm not wearing my trusty welding mask for doing all the welding. Well, it's not that these are super special glasses, they're not. I'm just tacking up. So a little technique that a lot of welders use is when you're tacking up, you close these eyelid things, and then that way the nasty blue light isn't going to damage your eyes. You must never ever look at the blue light. Otherwise, you can get what's called arc eye, and it's very, very painful. I've had it in the past, fortunately not too often. It's a bit like sandpaper in your eyes. It's not nice at all. So, if you're doing any welding, please always wear your face mask. Don't do what I do. Right, let's get those steering pieces out of the way, the knuckles, leaving just the brackets on the chassis. Once that's done, I've got lots of this round rod. It's about 10mm diameter steel rod. We can use that, various lengths, various positions, to keep that bracket, the steering bracket, in exactly the right place whilst you replace that tube. Interesting design, that's all I can say. Don't lose these. Very important, Andy. Right, so clean up round there. That's that one, and that's going to go down to about there on the chassis. And then this one is going to go from there to there, so we need to clean up round there. And around there on the jig. Not on the chassis, on the jig, Andy, on the jig. And then this one is going to go all the way across like that. So we need to clean up along there as well. And then we'll cut them all off when we're finished. Might be time to clean the nozzle. Safety squints. I'll do it for that one. Well, there you go. That's all the little bracy pieces in position. These are all obviously temporary. It should still give us enough access to cut through the tubes, get all that out of the way, and then I think, man, this is going to be, see, where do you start? I know what we'll do. We will cut the front end out first, and we'll cut these tubes off just down here somewhere, just in front of those outriggers, or maybe behind the outriggers actually, these little mounts. We'll see. Obviously I've got to take the steering column out. This needs to go, so there's a nut just down there which I'll buzz out next. We'll remove that, and then we can cut this front piece off, get rid of that, and then we should then be able to get in and cut off that tube across there. That's the plan, Stan. Okay, all the bits and pieces are now tacked into place. It's now time to do some real proper welding. And to do that, I have to remove the cap. Okay, welding helmet, over to you. We're going in. Woohoo! Ah, you're still there then. Oh, good stuff. Okay, well, I reckon that is all the welding done now until we start putting new bits of tube in. So I suppose now it's time we've got what have we got to do next? steering column to remove, haven't we?
Seriously, Andy? Still got that ponytail? Stop stealing my thunder.
Ponytail good? Yes, Holly loves my ponytail. She doesn't. Houston, we have a problem. On the steering column, everything's still hot. On the steering column here, there is a piece of angle iron welded to the column, which has been obviously welded in situ. You're all knowing where I'm going with this. Yeah, that's welded, definitely. There's weld under there. So you can't actually get this bit out. I thought this was a nut, but it's not. They've just put it through, welded that into place, job done. So I think the best thing to do now is for us to just cut that out either side, and then maybe there's enough wiggle room where I can grind off these brackets later on and then weld them to the new tube. That's not an issue, but I've still got to be able to get this out of the hoop further back, or either that or we just push it back up out of the way. Actually, yes, let's do that. We don't need to take it completely off the frame. Phew. Right, we will do our incision here and here, approximately. Right. Okay, Jared, this is the point of no return. Jared is the owner of this buggy, if you didn't know. And I reckon we can get in with that. Yeah, we can get in there with that. Ooh, wouldn't just. Could be interesting. We'll have to go that way around. Okay. Yes, point of no return. We're now cutting up the buggy frame. Before we start, you should be aware there might well be some tension in this tube. Remember, the whole thing's clamped down, it's been welded up. When I cut through that, it might cause this blade to jam and shatter, which is very dangerous. Whew, that wasn't too bad, was it? Right, where's... do I need my hammer? Might need my hammer, hang on. She's just a bit seized up. Lovely jubbly. That'll do nicely. Right, that's actually a pretty thick tube, is that? It might be thicker than what we have. We might have to get some different tube. Okay, next job is we can cut this front piece out. That can go. Woohoo! Oh dear. Oh, look at the rust. God damn it. Ooh, here we go. Oh, there's not much left of this buggy now. We appear to have hit a rather major snag for this afternoon. And it's going to cause me a bit of a problem. The good news is the steering brackets at the front here, look, for the pivots, well, they're sort of suspended in space and they didn't really move when we undid the when we cut through the pipe, which is really, really good. That's exactly how we want them to be. So I can clean up the back side here, look, and then the new tube can be welded into place. That one's got a bit more focus, damn you. Yeah, a bit more cleaning up to do. I left a bit more pipe on that one. Sorry, focus is terrible. There we go. But the problem is the tube wall thickness. Now obviously we weren't to know what this was until we started to cut through. But the tube that I have is this one. And it's quite a bit thinner, isn't it? Which means it's not going to be as strong. Which means, basically, focus. Basically, we can't use it. I have to get the right size tube. So, back to the drawing board for that one. And this is the main strength of the frame, so it has to be the right size. This stuff just won't hack it, unfortunately. I wasn't to know, but now I do. And it's the same tube for that cross piece as well that we just cut out. Yeah, really? That's alright. It's just one little tiny hiccup. It's not a problem. Okay. So what we've got here is part of the chassis that we've just cut off, and this is the main front to rear chassis rail, and on this end here, that's where the steering bracket goes, the joint, the pivot, the swivel, call it what you like. I've cleaned off the burrs from the cutting so we can get a really good idea of just how thick the sidewall is on this tubing compared to the one that we've got, just so we've got a ballpark. Right, you can see that, okay? We're going in. Okay, so there you go, 3.3 millimeter sidewall. Now I know for a fact that the tubing that we've got is not that thick. Basically 2 millimeters. So a significant difference. There's another problem. There is. The other problem is the pipe bender that we've got will only bend up to a 2 millimeter wall thickness. There is no way it's going to bend a wall thickness pipe of 3.3 millimeters. I have to come up with another plan. Ben has a pipe bender and it's there on the bench. I don't know if it'll do the same kind of radiuses. It may do, it might. And has he got the right ferrule for it, the right adapters and stuff? Maybe. So I need to do some more investigation, and I need to get another piece of tube the right size. The other tube that I've got should be fine for all the ancillary bits on the frame, but for the main frame has to be 3.3 mil wall thickness. Bugger. So putting all of that to one side, what else can we do? Don't really want to cut any more out of the frame at the moment, otherwise there'll be no reference points, there'll be nothing left other than the guides that were fitted to the jig. So I haven't done anything like what I hoped to get done in this video, and it's only middle of the afternoon. I expected to be working for another couple of hours on this project. What do we do? Dilemma time. We're going to have a look in the drawer. I want to see what parts Ben's got. Okay, the pipe bender drawer. Ah, yes. Now, this one is the one that I bought, and I have already used it on a couple of other little mini projects, and it's bloody good. I do like it. They're made by Bramley, but it's a lot smaller than one Ben has. As you can see, Ben's pipe bender can do massive great stuff. So, what have we got? Number 7, 1/2 inch, 15 mil. These are the pieces that you use here. Look. So that biggest one, 12, is 2 inch. Wow. Okay, I don't know what the wall thickness is, but if it can do 2-inch pipe, it can definitely do little stuff like this at 3.5 millimeters wall thickness. There, 1 inch, 25 mil, number 9. Can we find that? That's 3/4. What the hell? 3/4 of an inch, and that's. I thought that was 25. Could be wrong. That's 1/2 inch. Doesn't fit in there. But it does sort of fit in that one pretty well, actually. Okay, so that's a 3/4. 20. That must be 20 mil. Yes. 15 or 1/2 inch, which is not quite the same. Okay. So it looks like we might have what we need. Fingers crossed. So all we need to do now is find out what the maximum wall thickness is for this pipe bender. As you can see, it's all brand new. He's never used it. I don't think it will tell us on here. I'll have to ask him, see if he's got any more information on it. Or if we can find it on the Tinternet. Maybe. Okay. We might be in luck. Okay, Google. Boom, boom, boom. I don't want to know what's new. Thank you. Right, 12. Oh, that'll do. 12-ton hydraulic pipe bender. Okay, it looks like this one. Although they all look very similar. 16 ton. It's definitely a 12 ton. It says 12 tons on the sheet. So we'll go with that. It actually has got a sticker like that at the top. I don't know where I bought it from, so we'll give that a go. Let's go on to, oh, 279 bucks. That's cheap. It's about half the price of what I paid on mine. Okay, 1/2 inch to 2 inch. That's the one, isn't it? 6 steel formers. Yes. Description. Basic dimensions. Yeah. Does it tell us the thickness of the sidewall it can do there? It doesn't, does it? It doesn't actually tell us. Reviews. What have people said about it? Great trader. Ooh, well done, Saban. More to do with the trader rather than the product. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's definitely the one. Okay, well, still no specs. I want to know specs. Why is there no specs? Doesn't tell us, does it? Home. What does that do? Oh, it's for home use. So we've got to take it in the kitchen to use it. Is that right? Description. See if we've missed anything. Ah, here we go. Recommended for piping with wall thickness between 2.75 and 5.5 millimeters. Look. Perfect. 3.3. That's within that range. Woohoo! Oh, battery's charged. It's a very happy little Makita battery charger, is that one. It always plays you a nice little tune. And the tune seems to vary. You know, every time it's charged on battery. It's like, I've done it again! I'm a very happy battery charger. Well done, Makita. Anyway, I am a bit confused because this the OD, the outside diameter of the tube that I purchased, which is the same outside diameter of the tube, the main chassis rail tube on the go-kart, is 25.4 millimeters, approximately. However, this die here, what do they call it? I think they call it a die. Yes, bending die. This die is labelled up 3/4 of an inch or 20 millimeters, which is fine. However, a tube of 25 millimeters fits in all the way and sits at the bottom. So I think maybe they've made a slight mistake. I think, probably. But clearly that is the maximum radius that we can bend to. I think we're going to be alright with that. We can sort of make it work. Sort of. But all I need now is some more pipe. Same OD, 25.4 approximately, with a 3.3 millimeter wall thickness. Oh well, such is life. Okay, so we can't do any more to the main chassis rail because we can't replace it because we haven't got the tube. We have got the pipe bender though, and it'll be the first time use for that one as well, which is pretty cool. But what we can do is smaller tube stuff. So let's go and have a quick look at the frame now and see what we can actually get on with today, because I've got a couple of hours left and I really need to maximise my workshop time. Otherwise, this project's going to take forever. Okie dokie. So, other stuff that needs to be replaced. Well, we've got this support here that does the support, basically provides the upper support for the steering column. I was going to say a bush, but it's just a bit of tube, right? Okay, coming down. Looking over this side, both sides are the same. Yes, this bit here needs to be replaced. However, it welds to the seat back here, look. So I think it'd be prudent maybe to do that first, replace that piece, and then we can replace this piece here. That would make more sense, I think. So that would give us, this one is 22.5 diameter. We've definitely got some of that. This stuff feels a bit smaller. Let's measure that one. Where's my verniers gone? Over here, look. It's all very ad hoc. Hang on, let's just zeroize it now while we can, while we're on the bench. There we go. So what size is that? It's about 19, just over 19 millimeters. Have we got any 19 millimeter tube? I did see a smaller piece hiding at the back. Yes, there he is. This tube has been used for many, many, many things, so there's not, there really isn't very much of it left, unfortunately. But we don't need a lot. And this is all very, very, there we are, I'll focus there for you. Oh, that'll do, look, 19.28, near as damn it the same. Excellent. Okay, so things are looking up again, which is nice. Pipe bender we've got, check. We've got the two smaller sizes of the tube, one for the seat back and one for the steering hoop, for the steering column, upper mount. So that's all good. Like I said, I think we should do the seat back sides first and just tack those into place. So we can cut the old bits out, get the tube, bend it, and I can use my smaller pipe bender for that, which bolts to the bench. There's already some pre-drilled holes from last time I used it, which is about 2 years ago. Been a while. And then we can do the steering hoop side, just one side at a time, and that way it'll maintain its height. It's not going to drop down anywhere. And yeah, I think we're going to be okay. Okay, back on the tools. Okay. So we can cut that off flush. Let's do that. Right, so I got rid of just the tin out of the way because it was all rusty anyway, so it had to go. And the bit that I've just cut out is for the seat back, and it was it was in there like that. There we go. So all we need to do is produce a new piece of tube that long with that bend in it, and then we can offer it back in and tack it here, clamp it here, and then we can do the same on the other side, and then we will do this bit and do both of those, and I reckon that'll take me the rest of the day. So let's go and find a bit of that tube and put a bend in it. So I need to get my pipe bender set up. This will be fun. Been a while. It really has. Here we go. That was fun. Now, question is it about right? And we always end up with a bit of surplus, so not the end of the world. We can go that way and we get less surplus. That looks pretty good to me. That looks really good, actually. Cool, yeah. Oh, sorry, camera. We have a bend. Pretty good. Yes, I could have actually got away with a little bit less sticking out the end, to be fair. Anyway, it's all good. That's pretty good to me. Right, so I need to cut it off there. And there. bad. Best go and see if it fits. Okay, old one would sit in there like that. Okay, so the new one, I haven't checked this yet, so I could be completely wrong, sits in there like that. It's pretty good. And then obviously when we make this piece up, it'll be extended by whatever that, the state of that, it's got a hole in it. We'll extend it by that much. There we go. So that, now we can clean up these two surfaces, we can clamp it down here and we can tack it onto the seat stay, and that's that first bit done. Woohoo! will it fit? I don't know. See, this is quite an important piece. Even though it's the thinnest wall tube on the vehicle, it actually ties together the main chassis rail with the base of the seat frame as well, which is pretty cool. That looks absolutely bang on to me. So I'll just get that piece of angle that I put at the back, we'll line that up, we'll clamp it into position, and we're going to get that welded up. Obviously we'll leave this bit of a gap because we've still got to replace this tube once we get that thicker stuff. Bloody hell, things are coming up. And using a bit of angle iron like this is actually a piece of box section that I've cut out. Because you've got 2 points, it makes contact with the tube in 2 places. It's perfect for lining the tube up, so it looks professional. There's a lot of clamps on this machine. There we go. Right, where's my other mole grips? There they are. Okie dokie, up. Very important because you can get this the wrong way around. It's very similar lengths. Right. That looks... it looks good, actually. I like it. Now, actually, I just need to put a bit more of a chamfer on there, and then we're good. There we go, grommets. Okay, I'm going to clamp this up and see where it sits. I think we're going to be all right. Annoying because the mole grip is actually twisted as they're tightening up. There we go. Oh, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? Right, I've got to clean up this pipe now, which I forgot to do along there. And I think we'll be good to go. I might actually, I'm just looking at the other side and they're not quite parallel. So I think we need to chop this, the length of this down a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit low. That's what it is. So I'll take about 3mm off the end of this tube here and it'll bring the whole thing up and it should correct this as well. Right, said Fred. Action stations. Stuff to do. Right. Let's see how we get on now. Oh, it's looking good, isn't it? I do like that. It's also rather hot. So I'm going to stick that in there. Ideally we want about a 1mm gap up here for the weld. Be good. That looks pretty good. It's a lot better down here. I like that. And it's not actually parallel on the other side. It does kick up a little bit. So that's alright. I think we'll tack that in, and I'll see you back at the bench. I'm pretty impressed with this actually so far. I know we've only replaced 2 small pieces on the frame, cut out a lot more to be fair, but we're going in the right direction. And I think it's the attention to detail to get each piece bang on. Otherwise, it's going to look a bit of a mess. Anyway, let's take a quick look. Where's the best angle? Probably over this side actually. Okay, so we've done one side. Take that clamp off for now, can't we? There we go. Much better. So we've done this piece here, which is the base of the seat. That's all sorted out on the left hand side. And we've done this other piece here which runs up for the steering support. So one side is done. If you see, I did a final tweak on the tube. I actually just relieved the bend a little bit. It was a little bit too bendy. And now those two tubes are absolutely parallel. They're bang on. Very, very happy with that indeed. Come around this other side. You can obviously see that in the factory they've overbent the tubes a little bit as well, because it is slightly lower here than it is at the far end. Oh, I've got my arm on the weld. That's rather warm. So there you go. I'm trying to get the camera to shoot. But you can see why we're replacing this. These are massive pop marks in the tube, and it's lost an awful lot of its structural integrity, and it needs to be replaced. But I've done one side, and I've just got one more side to go. It's easy, really, isn't it? Right, I'm going to crack on and get the other side done, the other two bits of tube finished. At the moment, we're just tacking everything into place. I don't want to start distorting stuff with big welds at the moment. We'll do all of that at the end once everything is tacked up and in place. Right, Mrs. Mechanic's made me a coffee. I'm going to have that, have a cigarette, and then get those other two pipes done, and that will be it for today for me. Here's a message from Tool Girl Holly. She's always keen to get on these videos. Holly, what is it this time?
Now then, crew, Tool Girl Holly here. Don't miss the next live stream, 8:30 AM Sunday.
Okay, crew, if you enjoyed this video, why not click on the subscribe button? You can ring the bell. YouTube will send you a notification as and when I upload any new videos. Now, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can email me directly, andymechanic@live.co.uk. And if you want to support the channel, you can do that through Patreon or PayPal. Now, Patreon, there's a link on the closing screen. There's a little link on there. For PayPal, just go to any PayPal link that gets you to the PayPal page, and you can send your money through to andymechanic@live.co.uk. That's the email that you quote when you want to send the cash. $1, a couple of bucks, $5, whatever you can afford, most appreciated. It really is. It goes towards doing projects like this, and of course all the previous projects. And did you know that there's over 800 videos on my channel now? 800! I couldn't believe it. I thought it was about 600. But YouTube told me, Andy, you've got over 800 videos. Wow. That's amazing, Mr. YouTube. Thank you very much. Obviously, I put a lot of effort in. Anyway, I enjoy it. I really, really do. It sort of documents what I do. The last 8 years. I'm a lot older now. I look twice as much older than I should do. But that's probably my day job, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can also share the video on your social media platform, Facebook, whatever you're on, Instagram, I don't know. Do a share for us. Get the word out there. Let's try and get the channel over that magic 100,000 subscribers. And as of today, I think we're around about 83, just over 83,000 subs. No, 87,000 subs. That's right, just over 87,000 subs. Only 13,000 to go. Come on, people, give me a hand. All right, crew, see you next time. Cheers, over and out. And we get the flip up again. Oh.